Very good morning to everyone. And tell me, how many of you have ever said yes when every cell in your body was screaming no? You agreed to do something you did not want to do. You stayed quiet when you had every right to speak, and you smiled and said, "हाँ, ठीक है." But inside you were thinking, "बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है." And afterwards, you went home feeling either resentful or guilty, or sometimes both at the same time, which is a very exhausting combination, by the way. And now, some of you may have tried the other approach. You got tired of being quiet. So one day you said, enough. And it came out, shall we say, with some force, a raised voice, a sharp word, a door that may have been closed slightly more firmly than intended. And that did not feel great either. So here is the question I want to explore with you today. Is there a middle path? A way to say what you mean, stand up for what you need without either swallowing yourself whole or setting the room on fire? And there is, yes, there is. And it has a name. Assertiveness says, I matter too. Yes, let me say that again. Assertiveness says, I matter too. So I want you to just imagine a tree, a healthy, strong, well rooted tree. And now this tree has been there for years. It has deep roots, it stands tall, and when the wind comes, it bends a little, yes, but it does not fall. It does not apologize for standing there. It does not shrink to give other trees more space. But here is what is interesting. It also does not attack neighboring trees. It does not send its branches into someone else's space aggressively. And it does not choke others with its roots. It simply stands firm, grounded, present, taking up exactly the space it deserves. Now, that tree is an assertive person. And now contrast that with two other kinds of trees. One that is so afraid of taking up space that it keeps bending, keeps shrinking until you can barely see it. And another that grows so wildly, so aggressively, that it starts suffocating everything around it. Now, neither of those trees is thriving, and neither are the people around them. So, you want to be the first tree, strong, rooted, respectful of the space of others, but absolutely clear about your own. So, let me give you a simple map. Three kinds of communication, and you will recognize all three from your own life. Yeah, just be observant. One, passive, like ignoring yourself. So let me tell you about Kavita ji. She's a homemaker. She's been managing a household for 6 people for 25 years. Every morning she makes breakfast based on whatever else wants. Every evening, she quietly adjusts her plans if someone else has different ones. And one day, her sister-in-law calls and says, हम लोग आ रहे हैं संडे को 2 दिन रुकेंगे, without even asking Kavita, just informing her. And Kavita says, हाँ हाँ आ जाओ, and then spends the next 4 days quietly exhausted and privately furious. Now that is passive communication. You say yes with your mouth and not with your heart. So you are actually saying no with your heart, I was. And the resentment, oh, it doesn't disappear. It just goes underground and comes out later, sideways, at the wrong person at the wrong time. Number two, aggressive, ignoring others. So let's talk about Vikram. He's a senior manager, 52, used to being in charge. Someone in a meeting questions his decision, a junior colleague, very politely. And Vikram's response, loud, dismissive. तुम अभी बहुत नए हो, पहले एक्सपीरियंस लो, फिर बात करना. The room goes quiet. The colleague goes quiet. And Vikram feels powerful for about 10 minutes until he realizes that no one in that room will ever question him again. Not because they respect him, but because they are afraid of him. That is aggressive communication. It gets compliance, it never gets trust. And then number three, assertiveness. Assertive, respecting both. So let's meet Priya. She works in an office, handles a team, and also goes home to a family that expects her to seamlessly switch from project manager to household manager the moment she walks through the door. And one evening, her husband, meaning well, says, कल मेरे ऑफिस के फ्रेंड्स आ रहे हैं डिनर पे, कुछ स्पेशल बना देना. Now, old Priya would have said yes and silently resented it. Aggressive Priya would have said something she might regret. But assertive Priya, she looks at him and says, I appreciate that you want to have them over, but I've had a very long week and I'm not in a position to manage a full dinner tomorrow. Can we either order in or plan this for the weekend when I have more energy? Clear, calm, no apology, no drama, just that here is where I am and here is what I need. Simple. And the key, the language she used. I feel, not you always. I need, not you. Why can't you ever do this? And I prefer, not a quiet, defeated, ठीक है. I feel, I need, I prefer. Three small phrases and enormous difference. Because when you start with I, you are owning your experience. You're not attacking. You're not collapsing. You're simply standing like a tree, firm and fair. So, as we always do, let's do today's reflection, today's exercise. So, I want to give you one small thing to do today. Not tomorrow, of course, not next week, but today. Express one preference clearly, calmly, without apologizing for it. Now, it doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as I would prefer if we ate dinner a little earlier tonight, or I need some quiet time after I get home, just 20 minutes. Or it can even be I feel uncomfortable when decisions are made without asking me. No, sorry to bother you. No, I know this is silly, but no preemptive apology for simply having a preference. Just say it once, clearly, and see what happens. Now, you might be surprised. Often the response is far gentler than you fear because the people around us are not mind readers. They do not know what we need until we tell them. And we cannot blame them for not knowing what we never said. So, we live in a culture, that celebrates selflessness. And there is great beauty in that, in giving, in adjusting, in keeping the peace. But somewhere along the way, many of us confused selflessness with self erasure. We started believing that if we express what we need, we are being selfish. That if we disagree, we are being rude. And that if we say no, we are being difficult. And that is not selflessness. that is disappearing. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I've said it multiple times in the past. So, assertiveness is not about becoming a different person. It's not about being bold if you're shy or loud if you're soft spoken. It's simply about believing quietly, firmly, without apology that your feelings deserve to be spoken, that your needs deserve to be heard, that your preference deserve a seat at the table. You do not have to shrink to make others comfortable, and you do not have to rage to be taken seriously. You just have to stand grounded, clear, and kind, and that is the whole secret. The world does not need more people who say yes when they mean no. It needs more people who have the courage and the grace to say, here is what I think, and here is what I feel, and here is what I need. People who stand like the tree, taking up exactly the space they deserve. So this week, stand a little taller, speak a little clearer, and remember, you matter too. So, with that thought, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.